Hey, John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I've got a real serious question here, something that I've been thinking about a lot. It's a question that really, when I read this email, I really felt like this is something that I need to address as best as possible. It's a difficult situation, one that I don't have a lot of experience with, so I'm going to do my best to give a good answer here, knowing that I'll never be in the situation, so I can't talk from experience here, but I can just share my viewpoint here, and hopefully this will be helpful. So I'm going to jump right into the email. Basically it says, hi, I used to be a software developer for 3 years, and then I got married and became a mom. My life has changed completely. I quit my job, and I've been a mom for almost 5 years. During these 5 years, I used to get so many panic attacks that I'm going to stay like that forever. I'm a loser. I forgot everything. I'll never be able to find a job as a software developer again. I literally forgot everything, and I bought books so I can be up to date with all the new technologies and stuff. But once I open a book, I just cry and feel like I can't. I feel lost, don't know where to start and what to do. Being a developer was my dream since I was 13 years old. I worked really hard on that, and I believe I was a really good developer who can easily get a job. Now I'm not. I have lots of other responsibilities, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to be myself again. I just need help. What should I do? What should I expect? What are my chances? Thanks in advance. So I just want to start off, by saying, first of all, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. I can tell this from this email, and hopefully by the end of this video, I'll have helped you to remove some of that pressure, because I don't think the situation is quite as dire as what you think it is, and I do think that you're stressing out a little bit more than you need to about this whole situation, even if you want to go back and become a software developer. But before I get to that, I want to address something that I think is really important that has to be addressed before I go any further in this video, because I wouldn't be helping you if I don't address this issue, which I don't know where you stand on this, but just from the tone of your email, I tend to think that maybe you could use a little bit of support and encouragement in this area. So, I just want to say that what you're doing, quitting your job to become a mother, to raise a child for 5 years, that's a noble thing, and that's something that I admire. It's something that is a sacrifice, a very highly priced sacrifice, especially saying that it was your dream since you're 13 years old to be a developer. For you to give that up in order to raise a child and start a family, that's not something that I would take very lightly, and I think it's a very noble choice that you have made. Now, I'm not, people will interpret what I just said as, however they want to interpret it, but I'm not saying it to be patronizing or anything like that. I'm saying it because I truly believe that this is true, that you might be undervaluing yourself in that role. That being a mother, raising a child, being a father even, is a very important role, and making that choice, making a sacrifice to do that is something that is not something that I would ever look down upon, that a lot of people would place above being a software developer, including myself. So, I think you're doing something already that's awesome, that's great, that there's no shame in, that it's not a lesser thing. So, my hat is off to you, that you have made this choice already, that you've stuck with it for this amount of time, and that you've done something that is going to make an impact on the world, a bigger impact than many of the things that I do. Affecting one child's life is a serious thing, and I just want to make sure that before I tell you how to get back into software development, that I tell you that this is a really good thing, that this is not something to think is lesser. And maybe you already know this, maybe I am just telling you something that you already know, but at least maybe I can reinforce this and tell you that, yeah, don't be ashamed of this. This is something that is great, that you have made a sacrifice, and it's highly commendable and respectable. And if you chose to continue down this path, that would be a totally fine choice. It's not something that I think you should shy away from if you're so inclined to go that direction, just because you feel like you should be doing something else. Now, with that said, I think what you really need to do is to go inside yourself and look inside yourself and determine, is it that you don't feel like being a mother is a good enough thing, and so that's why you want to go back into software development? Or is it that you truly are feeling like you're missing out on something that you're really passionate about and you want to go back into software development? Either choice is totally fine, but it's something that you have to choose for yourself and you have to look at, but you have to be able to see it for what it is, to realize that either choice is okay and either is a noble calling. So I think that's really important, that you kind of introspect and figure that out first and try to determine, because of all the stress that you're putting on yourself, I feel like some of it is not just a stress of trying to make it as a software developer, but some of it is a stress of maybe perhaps feeling like you're not worthy. Again, I don't know your situation. I just have an email here with a little bit of details on your situation, but just something that I'd encourage you to look deep in and figure out, is this, where is this coming from? Is there an issue of not feeling confident in the choices that you've made so far and not feeling that they're good enough? Because like I said, my hat is off to you. I feel like you have made a noble and honorable choice, and that you have made a sacrifice that is worthy of being praised and appreciated. So I just want to say that first. Now, here's the good news. If you do want to get back into software development, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Technology is changing rapidly, right? I am in this every day, and I can't keep up with everything. So this should make you feel good, because there's no way you can keep up with everything, and you don't need to. Here's the thing, right? You don't need to buy books on software development and try to keep up with the different changing technologies. What you have already done, being a software developer, is like riding a bicycle. Now hear me out here. I'm not saying that you can just start picking up code in some different technology and start writing it. But what I'm saying is that the key part of being a software developer is like riding a bicycle. The ability to take requirements and to write algorithms and understand how algorithms work and to be able to write code, it's universal. It doesn't matter what programming language or technology that you use. Once you've learned that, you have that ability, and you're not going to forget that very easily. So don't worry. Here's the thing, you don't need to stay up with technology. When you're ready to enter the workforce, if you decide to, then give yourself about 3 months, perhaps 6 months, and then pick one technology to learn, one programming language, one very specific narrow focus, and focus on learning that. Don't try and keep up with everything. Don't try and learn everything. No one can do that. And this advice goes to not just you, but all software developers out there. If you're out there and you're trying to keep up with everything, and I know I try to do this for a long period of time, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Don't worry, you don't have to do that. You don't have to keep up with everything. It's not even possible. So don't even try. Narrow your focus and do what I call just-in-time learning. When you need to learn something, learn it right before you need it. Don't try and, I bought so many books and tried to keep up on everything and felt so overwhelmed all the time. Even now, I often feel overwhelmed. But I have to remind myself, and you have to remind yourself as well, that you can only learn so much, and you have to choose what it is, and you don't have to know everything, right? You have to know what you need to know to do a specific thing. Knowledge without application is useless. So that's what I would encourage you, is to get rid of all this pressure, all this burden that you're putting on yourself. It's harmful. It's not helpful, and there's no need for it. You'll be fine. You're going to be just fine. If you want to get another job in software development, I'm telling you, it's not going to take you very much time. You're going to just pick a technology, pick a programming language, and you'll be surprised how fast you'll be able to pick it up, as long as you're not trying to learn everything. If you have a very focused approach and you've already done software development, you're going to get right back on the horse, and you're going to be just fine. So really, don't stress yourself out about this. There's no need to be upset, thinking that you're not going to make it, that you're going to fail, that you've forgotten everything, you can't get a job anymore. None of that is true. These are just doubts that are impaling you, and don't let that happen. You got to fight against this. You got to believe that you can do it, and that what you're doing right now is extremely important and valuable. And when you do go back to software development, if you choose to, that you'll be able to do that. Trust me. Believe me when I tell you that you will be able to. Just to relate another story, my wife actually was a software developer, and then we had our first child, and she actually quit. She's been raising my daughter for three and a half years now. She's 3.5 years old, and I mean she similar thing, was software developer. If she wanted to get back into it, she could definitely do it. I have no doubt about that. But again, just to show you, I think this is a choice that you make that is not a bad choice. I think a lot of people might today in the world say, oh well, you should be working, or and I don't know. I mean, it's ultimately up to you. But I'm saying that from my perspective, what you chose to do is not something that should be looked down upon or frowned upon, or it has just as much value. But like I said, I'm going a little long here because I really want to encourage you and let you know that you are putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. You're going to be just fine. If you continue down the path that you're on, that's a totally fine path. If you want to go back into software development, you're going to make it. You're going to be fine. You don't have to stay up with all the technologies and read all these books. When you're ready, then start learning one technology, and it's going to be easy. It's not going to be that difficult. You've got the commitment to do it. Your chances are 100%. You should definitely expect to be able to get back into it and not have a problem. So I hope that in some way this has helped you. Again, my perspective is limited in this situation, but I can only give you kind of my viewpoint on this. And I do know, I can tell you with certainty that if you've been a software developer before, it doesn't matter if you've been out of it for 5 years. The technology may have changed. We might have gotten new programming language and new frameworks and whatnot, but the basics, the core is still there, and you'll still have it. So again, hopefully this helps you. I wish you the best. Email me, let me know what's going on with you, and I would be glad to offer you more help and more encouragement and advice. Let me know. I'm really curious to see what kind of decision you make and where you go. But I appreciate you sending this email, because I think this may help a lot of other people that are in a similar situation, or even just software developers in general that are struggling with trying to learn too much and trying to really stay up with everything, putting a lot of pressure on themselves that doesn't need to be there. Alright, so that's it. If you like this video, if you feel like this video could help someone else who's in this situation, please share it. And if you like this video, if you'd like more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.